What's up, guys? Jordan from Bennett's Customs. We are back on another episode with special guest Karl Fisher. He doesn't even need he doesn't need an introduction. You guys know who he is.
I'm in Australia.
He is from the Great White North.
Yeah, having a good time out here, hanging with Jordan.
Yep.
Messing around with some cars.
Yep.
We did a little stint last weekend at the ASRF Nationals in Mandurah.
Yep.
Mandurah?
Mandurah?
Mandurah.
I think that's, Mandurah. That's how you're supposed
Mandurah.
to.
Mandurah.
Mandurah.
Eski.
Yeah, brah. But anyways, we are working on the Hemi Coupe. And we are now working on, well, Karl is, making a 10 gauge sort of skeleton, we'll call it.
Yeah, so like all the parts of this floor that are stepped down, the areas that are stepped up and kind of traced out here, and these are now going to be basically out of one solid piece of 10 gauge. The entire floor will have this entire skeleton helping to beef it up a little bit, just give it a little bit more structure, so that we can have the body mounts going through something a little thicker than just the sheet, and something that we can tie the channel plates and the substructure of the Model A body into. So it's we're trying to make it out all in one piece, so that's kind of what I'm working on.
But while Karl is doing this, I'm going to finish that big void that was at the back, the area we haven't finished off, and then we can kind of connect everything together, spot weld it onto this skeleton, and we'll have one really nice looking, very strong floor that we can start to work on our side bits for the channeling.
Indeed.
Indeed.
Want to check out the skeletal structure? It will be on Make It Custom. And yeah, we're both making videos today. Collaborating, correlating.
It's like an inception.
Like a video within a video.
Within a video. Nothing! Where are you at? Alright, let's get into it. Ready? 2, 3.
Thick enough to not burn into dust. And so it's just arts and crafts day today. We're just
Arts and
making
crafts.
plates and cutting stuff and doing things and making cars. So.
Bead roll off that.
Ooh, I have a question for you.
Uh-oh. Don't. No! No!
Your template with these holes, was it meant to butt into that? Or was it meant to overlap that?
Overlap. I made a flangula. Like you gave me the template, and then I added to it so that.
Okay, so my template still works.
Yours template's still perfect.
Because I taped that template to the edge of this. Your original template, I taped it to the edge of this.
Yeah. And then I added fucking some to it.
So good.
But what I could also do right now is just do a quick measurement from here to here on yours to make sure. Because I didn't want them to butt up to each other, because remember how we said we were going to lap it? To plug weld it? So I added material.
You added,
Yeah.
which is good.
But just triple confirm check.
Yeah.
Check it, triple confirm.
Go maybe center to center just because mine's already cut down.
Roughly 345.
Center up. Center up. No. No. Side-eye, you know what I'm gonna do? Is I'm gonna poop these holes, and then I'll actually lay this all on that again, and we'll actually line up all the holes, the body mount holes, and adjust the size, because this has to be still copied onto cardboard anyway,
Yeah, okay.
into multiple pieces of cardboard.
Multiple.
Multiple pieces.
Yes, you are correct.
So-
You are immediately correct.
So all those holes are still gonna be ace anyway. And just where the templates met, we'll just have to unmeet them and then meet them again. No more arts and crafts. Not too bad. Not too bad. Not I have no words. I'm all out of words.
I started working on the rear portion of the floor itself. So I need to finish bead rolling that. We're going to put some hammer forms in there to tighten everything up and, you know, make it look like the rest of the floor itself. I want to clean all the edges where we've plasma cut that table or the skeleton out, and then you know, drill some holes, weld it all together, get it sitting on this frame. I did a little test piece using that little chamfering tool that I got off online. I think it was Temu that we bought it for 50 bucks. It is the coolest little tool, and I'm going to use that around all of our edges after I clean up the slag that is on there, or dross, whatever you'd like to call it. Just works a treat. Treat. Treaty. Yeah. Yeah. Don't know how to get them out. Come on, buddy. So what I'd like to do now is I'm going to use our Dazzy little new chamfering tool. And all this does, if you haven't seen it in my previous video, has a little bearing and it works just like a router. And it uses your bits for your lathe to actually cut. So you can basically run it around and you can get a really nice finish on the edge, and you can kind of create a 45-degree chamfer all the way around it. So it works really well. So all I'm doing here is just marking out my areas, and then I'm going to try and put it into the slip roller and just roll it real gradual in order to get the curve of the frame. Prior to putting all this down, you have probably seen that I had measured all the areas that do have sort of a curve and where it is flat. So I can then transfer that to these pieces, and it makes it a little bit easier to put it through the slip roller. So I think I think I'm ready. Or the trying song, or the Colorbond song, just whatever's on TV. I don't actually know if this is set properly. I wonder what that does. Let's test that. Oh yeah. So this side needs to be adjusted more on the roller, but that one is near on perfect, which is awesome. Really nice. Okay, so now we need to measure where our next one is. And this side, I believe I already have a line right here. And right here. So, to this way.
$7 then.
Thank you. Cheers. Oh. You go to 7-Eleven? How goes the 50 in 7-Eleven? So our panel is finished for now. And what I'm gonna do is work on this little piece back here. So we have our body mounts underneath this, and I'm gonna measure from our edge to our body mount and do the same on this piece so that I can drill our hole in this so that we can fix this down. Then we can play with that floor and get the shape of it. Using the slip roller, it worked out really well. It's got a really nice flow all around the frame rail, and it's quite neat. It's actually rolled this as well, and yeah, it looks really good. Okie dokie. So I think we already did do a mark, yeah, on that guy, and then we just need to figure out where it sits off this edge, which we can use this guy for. 30 mil. Hopefully we're in the ballpark of being exactly perfect, which we are on that one. Ooh. Okay, so that piece is gonna join somehow. Not exactly sure how I'm gonna do that. And then this piece, if I were to clamp along here, I might scribe that, and then I can run a couple of clecos, and then we should be able to form this right over. Kind of disappointed I didn't measure this properly back here. Would have been nice if it just came one piece right off the back. Although bead rolling it would have been really tough because that corner really hindered us. So there's a little overlap where these two seams meet. I was gonna butt weld and hammer it all out and make it look like one piece, but it's not really that necessary. So I think what I'm gonna try and do here is I'm gonna split the difference between these. I'm gonna scribe a line across the whole edge, and then right now I've just got a jack underneath, kind of with a flat piece of steel, just holding it up to where the floor is flush. And I'm just gonna pop a cleco right there. And then I'm gonna work my way across, and then hopefully that'll keep everything nice and tight. And then what we can do is we can plug weld those areas, and then maybe we'll just do like a nice bead right to here, one to here, one there type deal, so it'll tighten everything up, but we're not sort of hindering any of the welding part of it. Because what I was thinking is if I ran if I put these together and fully welded the whole thing out and hammered it all, it would look great, but there's gonna be a little bit of distortion, obviously, like we had with the other part of the floor as well. But the hard bit is that these X's, where I'd wanna put them, is gonna go straight through that. So I'm gonna actually be hammering through that old weld. And what'll happen is it'll most likely wanna tear. So it's gonna be a little bit hard to do that. So I think this is sort of the best route forward. And then, yeah, we can kind of work out what we wanna do in here. Maybe we put a nice X here and a couple lines through it. But yeah, I think it'll be spot on once we do it. Center. Just think one of those things to experience, you know?
Yeah.
It's pretty rad that one younger kid, eh? Just do it like his dad got to watch his last race from the helicopter and then he died the next year.
That's in June. Let's see.
In June.
Yeah.
Great time to leave here. Oh yeah, I think might be right actually. This is now sort of formed and sitting where it needs to, and it like kind of runs along the frame rail really nicely. And I think that my next step is to start drilling some holes and plug welding certain areas. And then that way I can take this and hopefully it'll still stay in its form or close to. And then I can take this over to the power hammer in order to put in our beads, and we can actually put them while they're in shape. So the bead will actually follow the shape or contour of the frame itself. The absolute beauty of these little clecos is you can just keep using them. You just reuse them, reuse them, reuse them. They're so nice. All right. And if you guys have been following along with this, you know we made our little homemade buck. It works superb for doing these. This is what I'm thinking. Something like that. It's about as close as we can go before we hinder. I believe it's this guy. Nope. Okay. Okay, we're ready. We got our jig set up and we are ready to put in our bead. Had thinking about pre-stretching the area just to add a little bit, but I think there is a little bit of material in here because of this bead roll that we could do. Not sure, bit of a gamble, probably better to pre-stretch, but let's just try it and see. Need me lubrication. Just gonna add a little bit in here. Help slide with the dies. Okay, let's get you set up over near the power hammer. We are going to, first off, loosen our fence and move that out of the way because we don't need it. Let's see if I can get this puppy up and in there. Perfect. And then underneath, I'm gonna bring it up and we're gonna tighten everything that you cannot see from there. Speaking of power hammers, we've actually sold this one to a good friend, Travis, at Rad Rides up in Perth. And we're getting a new boy. I think it arrives today, actually. Let's go for it. looks good. Wow, that's a deep one. That's really, really nice. So that's probably the limitation of that buck. And on the back side, it is very pronounced. It looks wicked. I think if you're gonna look underneath the back of the car with this guy, that one's gonna look awesome. So now we'll transfer it, do the other side, and see what it looks like. All right, so now we have it kind of mocked up with the little X's pressed in there. Looks really nice. So what I'm thinking now is I'm gonna run a bead through here and then again over here, and then we're gonna do one on each side of this just to tighten this area up after we plug weld it there. So originally I was gonna butt them up as I mentioned, but I've put a little step in here. This one goes right underneath it, and then we'll be able to plug weld that together. So what I'm gonna do is I've run a few Clecos across it, and I'm actually gonna pull this metal piece off with the floor so it's one piece, and it'll kind of keep this shape, or at least really close. That way, when we go and put it in to the power hammer using our little bead dies, that will help keep the shape and we can kind of form it. I am thinking with this as well, it would be safe to pre-stretch these areas prior to running them through. I think it would be a good idea. I did pre-stretch the other ones and they came out really nice and flat. So I may do the same. Yeah, that's fine actually. I'll just run it like that. So you can see we got the skeleton on the back side, and that will need to be obviously clamped in and plug welded, but this will help us create those shapes. It's a little heavy, it's a little awkward. So if I butt that up against there, why don't we just go like that? Something like that. Then we'll go down here and do the same. $60 mil this side. So that's where they're going to stop. And I'm thinking 120. Let's go 120 off the edge here as well, so it sort of matches nicely. And then we're going to run 75 off this line, which is there. 75 off there. We can lay this out nicely. Have our other guy. We'll do the same on here. We'll do 75, yep. 75 there, and 75 there. Let's go back. Five. Okay, so we're gonna go bang, 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 and then from here, I don't know if we should just bring the power rate up. I feel like we should. It's gonna look weird if we don't. Have the panel flipped upside down, and right here you can see I've measured out the areas, and I'm going to use the planishing hammer with a number 2 die and that is just going to allow us to pre-stretch it in the direction that we're going to actually put the bead on the bottom side, and that will help kind of take the distortion out of this area. So we'll pre-stretch this on both, and then I got the fence set up. Everything is measured properly to our bead, to the fence, and we can use the edge of this guy, and then we can run it through. And then you just gotta lift it up a little bit. A little bit more. Yeah, right about there. Let's start. All right, ready? Yeah. All right. So if you want to stand there, I'm gonna. So do you want to sort of? Yeah, I guess we could kind of go both ends like that and work towards each other. So I'm gonna run it along that fence to like there, and then try and come back to about there. So if you can see the stop, like kind of stop on the, you can go just past it. Yep. So I'll grab the foot switch. All right, so that's just past it?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, that's perfect because I can't see there, so that's a good little stop. I'm just gonna nip it up a bit. So if you can just come into the middle and support the whole panel. Yep. Yeah. I'll just raise it up a bit. How's that? That's probably too much, I reckon. Definitely too much. Okay, so I need to finish these corners off, and maybe that'll help, but there's definitely a lot of distortion in there because there's a lot of material. So we shrunk it, but we went really deep on that, and that was kind of my bad from running the die too tight. It's given us, yeah, a couple pretty sharp edges. Not incredibly happy about it. Okay, that helped big time. There's still a little bit here, but that's okay. Just want to make sure I'm hitting it in the right spot. Let's have a look. Yeah. So if I would have done this again, I probably would have had these two pieces or put a piece of flat bar along here, ran all the clecos like I had thought, and had it clamped just so everything was nice and flat and straight. This edge was probably a bit too live. But I think we should be able to get the majority of this out, which is good. One sec. Just gonna go a little deeper so it starts better. Never want to go in shallow, you know? Oh, Jesus Christ. Fuck me, fucking fuck ass. Yeah, mate, she's cooked. All right, so whole thing's, imagine there's a level just on here and it's got to stay level. And I'll kind of guide it. You guys pretend you're levels. You're the spirit levels, okay? You're part of the spirit.
Everything's bent though, so.
Yeah. Up on your end, Josh? Yeah. Holy shit, this may actually work. Okay. Yeah. Okay, you guys got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, did Ben get a little stooged on the toast?
The toaster broke, so I'm trying to work that out. No, the actual toaster.
I said the whole kitchen at the new shop's gonna be fully kitted out with fucking Fisher and Paykel Josh Ball. I said double stainless fucking fridge door. All right, so now we have the center portion in the hammer. I made a little fence, and this fence is just gonna help me guide along here so I don't have, you know, kind of a wiggly line. And all it is just a piece of sheet metal. I broke it, and then I just used the stretcher and just stretched a few areas just to try and follow the contour of our panel. So I'm gonna try and go from here to about here, in line with this guy, and fingers crossed it works. Moment of truth. So no idea how this is gonna work, but oh yeah, that is brilliant. Little bit of tooling marks right there and there, but that's okay, we can planish that out. Yeah, I'll be able to get rid of those. That's probably because I couldn't support it too much on that end. So it's going to be a pretty nice looking floor once it's all together, and we build those kind of side pieces that are going to go down, and that'll be the area where our subframe will be able to attach to. So the whole kind of body is just going to slide over. And yeah, it's going to be pretty nice. Unfortunately, it's probably all going to have a carpet on it. And two other things that probably should have mounted was the brakes and the brake pedals. So we could have created the floor around that. And we still don't have the kick panels. So the floor is actually extended a little bit longer than what it's probably going to be. And I purely did that so that I can trim it back rather than having to add to it. And so that way we can make our little floor kicks. We can put the pedal on, figure out where the pedal's gonna go. Definitely things that forward thinking. Sometimes I get a little excited. Sometimes I'm really good at forward thinking, and I forward think so much that I've built the entire car and forgot what day it was. But it all depends. Oh. Oops. Yeah. The old knees are getting pretty sore today. Yeah. Oh. Sometimes I hate when your cleco gets stuck like that. It's a real pain in the butt to get it out of the tool. Usually I can get it. Oh, actually, what do you guys think of that? Looks pretty cool, doesn't it? I found this hood online from a guy over east, and kind of hummed and hawed about it for a little while, but a really good friend of mine back home has got a accessory one for a Ford, or I think it might be Chevy. It's really cool though. It's got the four in there. And then I saw this. I couldn't for the life of me figure out what it was. You can see I just ran that Galmet stuff that I really like to use. So this is what it did look like. And it was kind of, you know, it still looks cool, but you just apply that Galmet and it just sort of brings back so much life to it and really darkens it. And honestly, like, if you were to put the two and two together, they're very similar. I mean, I've done a little bit more work on this with different stuff, but if I gave this the same treatment as I've done to that, it would look the same. So I'm gonna try and maybe brainstorm a way of either cutting this panel out here and installing it into the Model A hood sides and getting rid of the louvers, or I may try and make this panel work and just extend the bottom of it and give it sort of a patina treatment. And maybe I can English wheel this area to get this to follow this area. So I think what the goal would be is to actually use this. And this little belt line, it's actually quite neat. Karl from Make It Kustom, his Roadster that he's been working on for a client, he had kind of done a little hammer formed piece like that, and just to sort of finish it off like a little spear. And right away when I noticed that, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. It's kind of the same little thing. But what I want to do is, I'm thinking, because there's a bead that comes across and ends there, right? And then we have the top of the door, and then the bead kind of comes, but then goes down this way. But why not bring this into here, right? You seen what I'm thinking? So it kind of comes down, it falls off that, travels along. Maybe, you know, it's obviously going to have a slight little downhill than an uphill. And then we fix it to the shape of the 32 grill on the front, or maybe an early Model A grill, or maybe something completely different. And I make sort of a really neat looking track nose, and I use some of the mesh that's in there from the prison. I don't know. But this thing, after I put it on, I went, whoa, it's just got this really neat sort of shape up here, very Model T grill shape. I don't know. Or Model A, like 28, 29 grill. Maybe do that and like nickel plate it. So it's kind of like the one shiny bit that's on the car, but it's not, you know, it's still warm. I don't know. Thinking a lot about this car. I'm really eager to get back into it. I really want to get it done. It's going to be, yeah, something neat. But yeah, I thought I'd show you guys this. And I'll give you guys a guess. It's, oh no, I'll just tell you. It took me ages to find out what it was. And then Kenny Hooper, a really cool guy that's just around the corner, he's got a couple early Oaklands, and he's got an Austin. And I thought maybe like Buick or something like that. A lot of people thought Chevy. Chevy was similar, but we couldn't figure out what it was. And then he was talking about his 36 Austin 10 that he had when he was younger, and how similar it was. And he remembers reaching for those two areas and how it had the little kind of, like, these things are the best, and they're all intact. And they got nice old kind of chrome on them. They're a little bit pitted. They just match everything. And anyway, so we started Googling, and boom, found out it was English. A little bit disappointed, but no, it's okay. But it's pretty cool that, I don't know, I'm gonna bring a little bit of Austin English stuff into the Ford car that's pretty pure to, you know, all the right stuff. But I think it'll look really neat. And if I can get away with it real subtly, you're not even gonna know. So that's the cool bit. And then whether or not to louver the top to match the deck lid, that's gonna be a cool thing. Maybe not, who knows? Okay, let's get back to this. so we have it out sitting on our little bench there. We are using the U-Pole Weld number 2. It's a copper rich primer, and basically it's a super conductive primer, allowing really good adhesion for putting 2 panels together prior to spot welding. And it's just a really good thing to do, obviously, yeah, prior to doing any welding between 2 steel panels where there's going to be no paint, because obviously you can't weld through paint. So I've been sitting out here for ages mixing it up, and I'm just making sure too that any of our little holes don't have like a little raised edge on them or anything, and our big ones as well. We want to make sure everything is really flat, so when we put that sheet metal down to plug weld it, it's going to sit flat as well. Gonna make a lot of noise, and we're gonna piss off all the neighbors. Frame is sitting on the frame. Frame on frame. This needs a second coat, but I ran out of paint, so I'm waiting for the supplier to send me 2 cans so I can do 1 more coat. While I'm waiting for that, I'm going to start drilling all the holes for the floor in order to spot weld them.
It might not be no crossroad, but it's sure enough for far. Like left to LA or right to New York. Like stepping on the gas or taking it real slow. Feels like I'm split down the middle. Don't know which way to go. Oh no, feels like I'm split down the middle. Don't know which way to go. A life on the road, all settling down, reaping what I sow, always moving round. Forgive a rambling man, doing what he can to be yours. Oh, feels like I'm split down the middle. Don't know which way to go. Feels like I'm split down the middle. Can't tell which way to go. No, no, no.
All right, we're gonna end the video there. In next week's video, when we're working on this, I'm gonna do all the welding, and then we're gonna make those side pieces, and we're gonna weld those in as well, so that the whole floor can come off as one. Then we can prime underneath and get everything ready and prepped to get that body slid over these frame rails to channel it that 2.5 to 3 inches. Yeah, we haven't quite decided exactly how much yet, but I'm really happy with the way it's turned out. There's a little bit of finessing I still need to do just to get the shapes kind of flattened out a little bit from a little bit of the distortion from the power hammer, which is expected, especially when we're not pre-stretching a couple of them. You know, we wanted to try and replicate something that looks factory. So if you're not by the untrained eye, you'd be working on this thing and go, wow, this is a nice car. It's just built, you know, as if it came off an assembly line with lots of subtle customization. So as well, quick shout out to Travis at RAC Garage. I was speaking to him this morning and he's just busting his way through this very, you know, some people would call it scrap. Other people would, you know, myself, I would see it and go, yeah, I can see you know, the final product, but he is working with a heavily chopped 32 3-window coupe that he made from a bunch of parts, and it's incredible. And his detail and his fabrication skills are honestly, like, he's definitely one of the top guys up there. I really look up to him. It's incredible to see what he creates out of his tiny little garage that he has at home. But yeah, I want to shout him out because we were joking about how Ben and I's Roadsters have kind of obviously taken a little bit of a side step, and he's just kind of flown past, got this crazy body that he's just made all these scratch-built panels for, and it's going on a frame. And I told him jokingly that he'll have it running in a week, and he told me maybe 2 weeks as a joke, and I said I'm going to hold him to it. So Travis, I know you're listening. Everybody, go over to his channel, subscribe, and make sure you comment saying, let's see this hot rod run in 2 weeks. Hopefully you're feeling better too, man. I know you're a little bit sick. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and we will see you next week on Bennett's Customs. Woo-hoo-hoo!